Aaron Little here from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And guys, am I fired up tonight? I'm super, super excited to have you on this broadcast today. Guys, you know, if you've been in our industry or you're possibly looking to get into our industry, if you've been following this particular campaign, you will know that what I've been talking about here over about the last week or so is I want to be able to show you exactly what you need to be able to do to be able to make $10,000 prior to Christmas. And what I'm going to be doing is taking a handful of people sort of under my wing and then have you be able to look over my shoulder to actually see the whole process of how it works, why it works the way that it does, the psychology behind how it works and why it works, and then be able to help you to sort of morph and mold and sculpt your own unique, special brand within the industry so that you can go and provide value to the people. Okay, that's really what our industry is truly all about, is to provide value to the people. Now, if you've been sort of tuning into some of the Facebook Lives over this last few days, that kind of gives you a little bit of an example. I try to give you as much as possible on the front end before I sort of take you behind the scenes and then peel back the curtain and sort of open up the vault, so to speak, and really show you how it's done. Okay, now, what do I mean by that? Like, a lot of people will say to me, how's it possible to take newbies that have no marketing experience at all, okay, zero, they've never marketed before, and then help those people in a 30-day period of time get into, quite frankly, what a lot of people would consider to be a full-time yearly income that they can make within their very first month, okay? And it has to do with sort of what I call piggybacking off of the strategies that I do myself, whether that has to do with personal branding or what to post on Facebook, what type of content to create, so that you actually become the attractor factor and you create a magnetic pull towards you as the brand. Now, guys, you may or may not know this. In our particular industry, we're actually in what I consider to be a personal development and leadership business model. And a lot of people get into the home-based business industry and they think it's about selling some type of products, right? Like, well, I got a deal for you, check out my deal, right? They talk about the features and the benefits of their product, whether they're weight loss or, you know, skincare, anti-aging, nutraceuticals, energy drinks, whatever it is, okay? It doesn't matter, quite honestly. You can pick any different vertical that you want, right? In network marketing, MLM, affiliate marketing, and you also may be in some other type of direct sales model like real estate, okay? You might be a mortgage broker, you might be in the insurance industry, you might be in the automotive industry. So it doesn't matter which one of the verticals that you're in, this formula works for anything. Okay, anything. You could be a mentor, a coach, a trainer, a personal trainer into fitness. It doesn't matter what vertical that you're in. If you want to create a magnetic pull to you as the core, it's almost like being the core post, right? Which is going to be you. And around that, you're going to develop something that's very unique and special that makes you shine like a light in the industry, so that you can become the attractor factor. And that's really the goal, because, you know, people don't like going out and harassing their friends and family, guys. Trust me. You know, if you've been in our industry and they've told you to make the list of the top 200, people hate that. They truly do, especially if they've been in multiple business opportunities over the last 3, 5, 10 years or longer. And the company tells them to make this top 200 list. They literally get a queasy feeling in their stomach, that because they know it's going to mean a massive amount of rejection. So you really have to be in a type of mindset where you're bulletproof, literally like RoboCop, where it doesn't matter what people say, right? It's almost like a superhero, like, pew, 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 right? And that's the mindset that you've really got to be into if you ever want to get to 7 figures, multiple 7 figures, 8 figures, and higher. It really has to do with the value that you provide to the marketplace and how good are you at solving whatever pain that your market is going through. Now, if you're a realtor, you might be targeting first-time home buyers, right? In the event that you're in the insurance industry, you may have a specific niche that you want to target, but you got to understand about your buyer first before you can sort of create your own special sauce so that you become that magnetic pull, okay? Now, tonight is a very special night, and this story is very, very close to my heart because it was a gentleman that was only 21 years old, okay? When I first got a phone call from him, he was working at the bread factory, and this was somebody that had a real strong vision and dream. He was very emotionally connected to his dream. And you can kind of tell when you're talking to somebody, because this right here, guys, just, this is an energy portal right here, okay? This right here that we're on right now, Facebook is an energy portal, Skype is an energy portal, Zoom is an energy portal, Facebook Messenger is an energy portal, and you can feel a person's energy come through the portal, right? And this gentleman that you're about to meet is one of those people, okay? And he said, Darren, I have literally burnt myself out. He was working 12-hour days and higher. You're going to be able to hear his story tonight. And he was, in a state where he wasn't making a lot of money. He was making minimum wage. And, he had this vision. He had this vision of freedom. He really wanted to live the laptop lifestyle. And he said, Darren, please, can you show me the way? Can you please show me the way? And I could tell, you can tell by somebody's voice how much passion that they have on really wanting to get to the other side. And this is one of those people. And you're going to see it, you're going to hear it, and you're going to feel it when you start to hear him speak about his personal story on how he has literally gone from no experience at all, no tech skills. He never marketed a day in his life. He's never been in our industry before. And to go from that to making $23,000 US, guys, month one, okay? Now, the cool thing, the exciting thing is over the course of the next few days, Samuel is just one person, guys. There's going to be multiple stories that you're going to hear over about the next 10 days that, quite frankly, will shock you. They will shock you, these testimonials and these stories, because I'm not talking about this from a standpoint of hype, okay? Hype doesn't work in our industry, guys. Value works. Teaching people the actual skills so that nobody can ever take the skills away from you, ever. Nobody can ever take the skills away from you once you learn them. And it's about providing value to the people. So instead of being rags to riches, I call it skills to riches, truth be known. So guys, I'm really excited right now to introduce you to my good friend here. We've become very, very close friends. It's almost like my brother, truth be known. I introduce you to Samuel Mojica Jr. Bro, standing ovation.
Thank you.
My friend.
Happy to be here, Darren.
I am really, really excited to have you on here, Samuel. And I'll tell you, I remember the first call that you kind of reached out to me, and you had this burning desire inside. And I knew that if I could just open up a gateway for you and show you how things worked, that you were going to go straight to the top. It's kind of like a premonition thing. And you can kind of tell about somebody's passion, their burning desire. But it wasn't easy. You didn't start off in a really good place.
Right.
And I know that when you first started and I got that first call, I think kind of in a way you kind of were looking for maybe a little bit of sympathy, like you thought you was going to, because I heard your story, you were going to get some sort of a special deal or something. And I said, Samuel, everybody pays the same thing. And you're going to have to figure it out, bro. You're going to have to step into your power and you're going to have to figure it out and you're going to have to go get the money. So tell us a little bit about that, where you were right in that zone when you called me for the very first time.
Yeah, so going back to that day, because that day I do consider it, in my young, almost 23 years, it's probably one of the most pivotal days of my life, mainly because at the time when I called you, I was still working at the bread factory. It was around like the holidays, and around the holidays, I was working anywhere from 12 to 14 hours every single day, right? So I was going through a lot of pain. You know, my feet were burning. Like my back was hurting at 21 years old. My back was hurting. I was working like at minimum wage, right? Minimum wage, no benefits, nothing. And I was like, man, my whole life, like ever since I was young growing up, I just always knew, I knew inside of me that I'm going to be the one to take my family up. I'm going to be the one to pull my family to riches. I have the smarts. I have the energy. I know I can do it. I just don't know how to do it. And that is when I came across one of your webinars, right? Funny enough, one of your webinars, I saw you were marketing it on Facebook. I just recently added you on as a friend there. I didn't have any posts on Facebook at the time because I didn't know about really how to use Facebook. So I attended your webinar. You were talking about the Robert Kiyosaki model, how to raise money, about marketing and all that stuff. And I'm like, this makes sense. This is it. This is it. And this is the man, more importantly, this is the man that I know can take all this potential I have and help me skill up, right? To earning what I know, what I felt I could earn, right? So after that webinar, and you probably remember I was a little cocky after the webinar, right? Because I was in pure ego mode, as most people are when they first contact a millionaire mentor. And I was just at the point where I remember that chat, exactly. I was like, Darren, look, I'm at the bread factory. I'm earning minimum wage. I don't know what to do. Like, I want to get started with you. I want to do millionaire mentoring. I want to take that step forward and make something of myself. I want my mother and my sister to be proud of me, right? Like, not just because they're my mother and sister and they're proud of me just because I exist. No, I wanted to accomplish something with my life, right? And I remember you told me, like, you literally said it like, Sam, then what are you going to do about it? Literally, like, what are you going to, no advice. What are you going to do about it? Right. And I was like, I guess I have to get the money. I guess I have to raise the money. Right. And from that point on, I decided, you know what? The only other way I knew how to raise money at that point, just because, the only way I knew how to make money was working a job, right? Working a job. That's all I knew, right? I didn't know how to ask friends and family for money or any of that stuff. So what I did is I went to my boss and I asked him, hey, can I be here for, 10 hours every Saturday? Like, can I, instead of working, 60, 65 hours a week, can I bump that up to 75 to 80 hours? And of course, my boss said yes, because, the more hours you put in, the more money he makes, right? So he said yes. And from that point on, I already knew, okay, you know what? I'm going to hunker down. It's going to be very hard. I'm basically giving up my weekends. I'm giving up my friendship relationships temporarily. I'm giving up my family time temporarily because I just knew after that webinar and after hearing you talk, this is the man that will take me to my vision, that will help me become the son to my mother and the big brother to my sister that they could be proud of, that can accomplish something. Right. So 4 months after that, Darren, took me 4 months, man. Imagine I never messaged you because I was scared. I was kind of scared to message you without having the money. Right. So 4 months later, I messaged you and I had the money. And I remember I told you, Darren, just give me the link. I know the price. It was probably the easiest sale of your life that day. Right. You just give me the link. I'm in. I have the money. And then, the rest was history from there. So that's exactly how that day started. And, I don't know, man, you helped me reach my dreams. Like at that time, you helped me quit the bread factory job. I look at you almost like an uncle, right?
So let me ask you this, Samuel, because I know that, we talk about this story from the bread factory and the swollen feet and
Mm-hmm.
coming home and having to put your feet in water to soak them to take down the swelling because you had to go back to work the next day. But it goes even deeper than that. Tell us a little bit about the backstory that happened before that, where you and your family found yourself completely flatline homeless.
That was probably the hardest day of my life. So before the bread factory, now this is what led me to the bread factory. It was probably a week or two before that. You know, me and my family, we went through a period of homelessness where we lost our house. All we had to our name was the car and whatever clothes we had in the trunk. Now, at that time, I never really worked a job. It was like right out of high school, had no job. And I realized at that moment that at least I felt like I failed my family. And anyone that's watching that, maybe you've gone through this where your family went through a horrible time, you went homeless or whatever, and you don't have the money to help them. It just tears you down. It tears you down as a man. It tears you down as a woman. It just tears down your pride. And at that moment, I remember, I'll never forget this day. I went to the bathroom and I looked at myself in the mirror and I didn't like what I saw, right? I looked at myself and I'm like, Sam, dude, like, what the hell? What are you doing? What are you doing with your life, dude? Like, you're already 20. Like at that time, you're like 20-ish. Like, what are you doing with your life? Like, man up, grow up a little bit. You're not a kid anymore. And, you know, I had a heart-to-heart with myself. And after, I remember the moment I walked out of that bathroom, I decided, I got into this mental state where like, I was so clear. I'm like, I need to get a job. I need to start making money. I need to do something. Not even for me. I need to rebuild my confidence so that I can feel like I'm worth something, because my self-worth was gone when my family lost everything. And that, you know, through a couple of connections to my mom's boyfriend, that's when I got the bread factory. I mean, that, by the way, that's the reason I was able to go through those 12-hour days, 14-hour days. That's the reason I never complained. I went Monday through Saturday to work, 80-hour weeks, every week, no breaks. There's no 2-week break, no breaks for over a year, no complaints. Why? Because I knew that job would get me somewhere. It'll build me up, right? I didn't have any room to complain. I was the big brother. I was the son, right? I felt inside of me that I needed to do something, right? And that's what led me to that bread factory. So it's kind of weird. It's like I started that job when my boss first saw me. He was like, holy crap, this guy has so much energy. He looks so driven, right? He's like, dude, you're just flipping bread. Why are you so driven? And I'm like, dude, it's not just for me, right? It's for I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my sister, for my mom, right? For me, right? I'm doing this so that I don't live a life where I work my whole life till 65, right? Have a little bit of retirement and then live out the rest of my life. Oh, no, I want to live now. Like I see young people right now. And actually on your webinar, I saw a 17-year-old kid, 17, make $50,000 in 2 months. 17. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm making $11 an hour. Why am I not doing that? Right. And I realized that me and that kid, we're not different. We're not different. He's not any smarter than me, right? If anything, like he doesn't even have as much experience as I do because I was older. The main difference was that he had a millionaire mentor and I didn't, right? And I did it. And I realized that, right? So I went to the factory. As you guys know, you know, I bit it. Like every time I had swollen feet, I had back pain. Every time I did not want to go to work, there was days where I didn't sleep, right? I could not sleep. Imagine you work 12 to 14 hours, you close your eyes for 30 minutes to an hour, and now you're back up ready to go to work again, right? And I just bit it. I said, you know what? Like, I have to do this. I don't have a choice. I have to do this. But I knew after a year that I don't want to do this forever. I had to do it, but it's not something I want to keep doing for the rest of my life. And that is when you came into my life with the webinar and Millionaire Mentoring. And then, you know, the rest was history. I'm sure you're going to ask me a question about what happened once I joined. Like, it's explosive.
Let me ask you this, Samuel, because I know that a lot of people are probably thinking in the back of their mind, right? Because I'm sure they can feel your energy force coming, bam, right through this portal right now. They feel your energy force. But were you like, a computer tech whiz back in high school? Did you have all this
No,
experience
man.
behind you?
Yeah, funny you asked that. I was a total introvert. Like I grew up playing video games my whole life, like literally stuck in a cube, basically. That was my room. No social skills. Um, I would never imagine, I would never have the courage to be on video like this, right? Never in my life would I think I would be here on this end of the spectrum. So I'd had no skills. All I knew how to do, like the bread factory was my only job, was my first job and my only job, thankfully. Thankfully, I found you early. But because of that, all I knew how to do was the bread factory. I knew nothing else. Right? And that's why I was kind of scared. I'll be honest, I was a little scared. Like, I'm like, because you start getting these questions in the back of your mind. Can I really do this? Can I really be like that 17-year-old? Can I really be like all these other people that Darren has trained? Am I even worth those results? Like who am I? Right? You start asking yourself these questions, but then you start to realize, what if? What if? That's something you said on the webinar that never left me. What if you can do it? What would that mean to your family? Right? And I'm like, wait a minute. What if I did become a success story? Let's say like worst case, it doesn't work for me. So what? I'll keep working at the bread factory. But what's the best case? What if I do make it? And that's where the vision came. I'm like, wait a minute. If I did make it, I can finally leave the bread factory job. I can finally be home, right, with my family. I can finally make more money so that I can do more things, right? I can finally have freedom. And that right there, that was worth the risk, right? That was way worth it. I was like, wait a minute, you know what? I'll figure it out. I've always believed in my ability to figure things out, right? And you confirmed it. When I heard you talk, you confirmed it that, you know what? Like what Darren is talking about makes so much sense. I can figure this out. I don't know how to do anything on the computer. I've never used Facebook. I'm a bread factory worker. All I did was use Instagram to look at pictures, right? Like most of us that work a job, right? And you're just bored. You look at pictures. That's all I knew how to do. But you taught me that you don't need tech skills. You don't even need, camera skills. You teach us first to learn how to build our self-worth, how to build our self-love, how to actually believe in ourselves and trust ourselves that even if we're not good on video, even if I didn't have the skills, you help us believe in ourselves that we can develop the skills to get there. You teach us that, through your stories, that most people, when they start out, they start right there, right? When they don't know anything. And the only difference between them and let's say somebody like me when I was at the bread factory was that they just stuck to it long enough that they ended up figuring it out, right? And that's really what helped me get started, right? Just the fact that there was no tech skills, or it was all just personal development. I just had to develop myself first, and the business just flowed after. It just came naturally after, right? And I was very happy about that. I was very happy about that. I didn't have to learn how to code a website or become a salesman, right? Become a video salesman or any of that. I didn't have to learn any of that. I just had to learn how to find me, how to find who I am, what my dreams are, and how to work and then develop the skills that you teach in Millionaire Mentoring, develop the skills that would close the gap from where I am to where my dream is, right? To close that gap.
So let me ask you this, Samuel, because I know that, guys, what I want for you to really understand is that over the course of, 3 decades of being in this industry, I used to literally have sleepless nights, guys, trying to figure out how I could take all this information and then squash it down so that you really only needed to learn a couple of things, a couple of skills, so that anybody could do it. Anybody. Doesn't matter if you, at 16 years old, my son came to me and he said, "Dad, can you show me what to do online, how to make money?" And his first 10 days, he made $2,069. And now he's at 20. He's now got 200 of his own students. He's just done $400,000 on Shopify in the last 6 months, and he's coming out with his own product. And that all had to do with what he was learning every summer listening to me do these trainings. It's bizarre, but he would play his video games and listen to me do Millionaire Mentoring, and it just sunk right into his DNA. And now it is, 4 years later, and he's just going like this vertical with his business. So when I said to you, Samuel, this is actually way easier than you think. It's not complicated, but you just got to be coachable. Just follow these steps that I tell you to do, starting with these 3 simple things to do. And what I want for you to do is to repeat them 6 times. Repeat these 3 simple steps 6 times in a row, okay? And I said it's probably going to take you maybe 4 or 5 days to repeat those 3 things 6 times in a row. And then after that, the gateway will open and you'll start to be able to make money, okay? Was I pretty accurate with that statement, Samuel?
Yeah, you were. And here's the thing, Darren. And I know most people are thinking this, right? Because I was thinking this when I first started. The very first thing you taught me was, Samuel, this is like the first thing you ever told me when I joined. Samuel, surrender your pride, surrender your ego, and just watch the training video 6 times minimum, and trust in me that gateway will open. Because a lot of people, they wonder, what does he mean by gateway? Like, some of them may even be skeptical of what you mean by that. But I learned that's what you mean by surrendering. Surrender what you think you know. Surrender your ego that wants to be right, that wants to be that skeptic. Surrender all that. Put it to the side, because it's what brought you to what you already have. Put it to the side and trust in this guy, the millionaire mentor, who's looking out for you, who's giving you steps that's going to develop you into being the person you want to become, right? So when you told me that, I mean, the rest was history. You told me 4 to 5 days the gate will open. I watched the videos, and it took me 4 days to watch all the videos 6 times minimum. Well, I watched 8 times minimum at that point, because I was at the point where I was falling asleep listening to the videos, right? And I would always count those as well, right? So I was falling asleep listening to the videos. On day number 5, I finally built confidence, because here's the thing about the videos. They didn't just teach me the skills, right? Because the skills, to my surprise, were simple, right? They were simple, easy to implement, and the results come fast. The videos, because you always talk about this, it taught me how to build courage from within myself. So on day 5, I had the courage. I'm like, oh man, I know what he's doing. I see it. Like, it makes sense. So day number 5, I spent 2 hours. I sat in front of my computer, because I remember on the video you said all it really takes, guys, is 1 or 2 hours a day, and you can make, a couple $1,000s a day, right? And I believed you, because you're my mentor. I was fully surrendered. I'm like, I believe him. If he says so, it is true, right? So day number 5, I hunkered down 2 hours. I followed each step of the process that you lay out in the training. And within those 2 hours, I made $1,400, right? $1,400. Now, keep in mind, in the bread factory, I was making $620 a week. So in those 2 hours, I made more money. I made more money than 2 weeks of work. Now, put things into perspective. I was working, but that was before the working Saturdays. I was working anywhere from 65 to 70 hours a week. That's 140 hours in 2 weeks. Now, I made the same money in 2 hours that I did in 140 hours. That is when I realized, like, I got goosebumps. I'm like, what is this? Like, it almost felt too good to be true. It felt too good to be true. I'm like, I've always envisioned that it would be like this, that I could do this, but it's a whole different ball game when it actually happens to you. Like when like you actually win the lottery, right? When you win something, it's like, oh my God, it actually happened to me. And I had this brilliant idea. Wait a minute. What if I did the same thing tomorrow? Right? What if I did the same thing tomorrow? And that's what I did. And I made $1,000. And now I'm like, the dots started to connect. What if I did this the next day? I made another $1,000. And I started doing that every single day. And in 2 weeks, I made $10,000. Now, I always felt, and if you're watching this, if there's a way for you to comment and say amen if you agree with this, like, I always felt that at $10,000, my life is set. I've always dreamed of that since I was in high school. If I made $10,000 a month, I am set. I am free. I can do anything I want in life, right? And I did that in 2 weeks. And I remember distinctly, immediately you called me when I told you, oh my God, Darren, I made 10,000. You said, Samuel, congratulations. Like the congratulations was genuine. It was brief. And then you're like, we need to push your goal up to 20,000 because, dude, you got 2 more weeks to go. So let's push your first 30-day story. That only happens once. So you want to push it as high as you want, like as high as you can. And he actually, and what he was really telling me, like without saying it, what he was really telling me was, Samuel, I believe that you can do more than 10,000. I believe that you're worth more. And I feel like now you're starting to see that you're worth more. Because if you can do 10 grand in 2 weeks, you can do 20 grand. You can do 30 grand. You can push it as high as you can. And that's what happened. By week number 3, I was up $23,000 in net sales, net profit. Gross profit was probably is closer to like 25, 28, whatever. But what's important, the take-home income, net profit, was $23,000. And that month completely changed my life. I remember I took my mom out to eat and my sister. I remember I celebrated with all my friends. And I could have gone higher. And as Darren, I know he's going to mention this at some point. I could have done more, but I kind of got lazy on the 4th week and I didn't know until after the fact. Darren called me and he let me know, Sam, this is what probably happened. You made more money in a month, in one 30-day period, than you did in a year at the bread factory. And you took a subconscious vacation. Like your subconscious mind took a vacation and it said, oh, dude, you no longer need to work. And I found out that subconscious mind took a vacation. That was actually my ego that I surrendered in the beginning of the month. It somehow came back into my life and I didn't even notice. Without me noticing, it just came back into my life and it capped me at 23,000 when I could have done more, right? And that's basically the story. Like it still feels too good to be true. Like, I'll be honest, guys, and I'm sure anyone would feel this. Like, if you've never made 10,000, like that alone feels too good to be true when you do it. You're like, oh my God, I did it. Now imagine doubling that. You're like on cloud 9. You're like, you know what? What if I can you start dreaming. What if I could do 50,000? What if I could do 100,000 in a month? What if I can actually buy my mom a house, write a check right now and say, Mom, here's the house in 1 month. What if I could do that? Right. And I started dreaming. I started to dream again and have these visions and believe in myself. I stopped paying attention to, my current surroundings. And I started seeing what was possible, the future, reality that I knew I can get to. I sent it's funny, Darren, I sent you a quote that says, like, when it comes to vision, don't just look at the stream, look at the ocean. That, like, every stream, there's actually a giant ocean that stream comes from. So don't just look at your current reality, like your current life. Look at what happens once you skill up. Look at your vision. Once you're living the millionaire lifestyle, once you're living the laptop lifestyle, like, pay attention to that. And that's gonna pull you straight to that reality. And that's a lot of what Darren teaches. And that's basically my story. And I've been doing it full time for almost 3 years now. It's been 3 years, Darren. Almost 3 years. How crazy is that?
Wow.
Almost 3 years.
So let me ask you this, Samuel, because I know that here's the thing. I want to share with you guys here on today's broadcast, and Samuel will probably be able to confirm this from his own experience, okay? But what my millionaire mentor taught me in my 20s, okay? He said, Darren, the people that need the help the most show up the least. The people that need the help the least show up the most. The people that show up, that start taking action, that are coachable, the moment that they move into a boom state where they start into momentum, pour gasoline on their fire, and help lift them up and give them wings. That was my training, guys. That's where I started. And keep in mind, this is 3 decades ago, working with my millionaire mentor in my early 20s. And he taught me some core grounded principles that I've kept on going all the way through my whole career to realize that it's not about us as people, okay? It's about the people. It's not about us, okay? It's about how can you help get another person to awaken themselves, to wake up to their true power, their true potential, to step into their greatness. Because that's where personal power is, guys. It's deep inside of us. So as Samuel was going, right, and I could see that he was ready to go, bam, right, I'd give him a call and give him another strategy, give him another opening so that he could propel to the next level. Did you find that that's what happened, Samuel?
Of course, yes. Like it's funny because I'll be honest. Like I'm sure everyone else would do this as well. I felt blessed and humbled and excited that every day I was making money, like $1,000, $1,000, $1,000, and I was feeling so much fulfillment, right? And I kept sharing it with you, and you would always cheer me on, and then you would call me at a very crucial moment, and always at the right time. Right? You have great timing, even to this day. You have great timing. When you call me, it would always be, all right, Sam, I see what you've done now. Congratulations. Here's how you go to the next level. And at those calls, by the way, those calls is what made me realize the importance of what a millionaire mentor does. Like that showed me what a mentor does. A mentor like helps you build a foundation, but more importantly, they show you, right, a farther vision that maybe you can't even see, but they can see your potential. And they give you those strategies that'll help you reach that ultimate potential. And I find, correct me if I'm wrong, Darren, I feel like that's where you get fulfillment. When you see students, like me and like all the other students, we start going higher and higher and we reach our max potential and we go even higher, right? I'm sure that brings you fulfillment. And that just taught me so. At first, I appreciate it, right? Just to this day, like some of those calls came in at times where like sometimes were hard when my ego got the best of me. Right. And you always got me back on the straight path. You always got me humbled, focused on the people, never focused on the money, more focused on helping others, getting fulfillment from helping others. And you also taught me what a real mentor is. And that benefited me in the way that I teach. Now, when I have my own students, like you taught me how to be a mentor, how to actually teach others. And you taught me not through your words, right? You taught me through your actions. And that's rare, right? Somebody that does what they actually teach, right? And they show you how they do it so that you can follow by example. Right?
Exactly.
So they've been super helpful.
Now, I know that, if you're tuning in here, guys, if you're chiming in, if you've been watching this rollout of this campaign, what's going to be happening over the next couple of days, you're going to be hearing from a number of students, okay? Samuel is just one. Okay, you're going to be hearing from people that have implemented what I teach, and their stories are hard to even comprehend. Okay, people that were 2 days with no water, with an eviction notice, 6 children that went on to make $157,000 their very first year. One lady that was living on her credit cards that was paying interest just to eat. She went on to make over $300,000 over the course of a 2-year period. One gentleman was flatline broke, no savings account left. He had maxed out his credit cards following the upgrade and buy more traffic scam that a lot of people pitch. And they're looking to line their own pockets. They're not looking to line your pocket, okay? And he went on to go from nothing to $140,000 his first year. And then he went on to, which his real passion was in the music industry, and ended up launching his own music company. And he did actually a commercial and did all the music and everything for the Raptors. So he propelled his career, and with all the things that he learned in Millionaire Mentoring, bridged into his true passion, which was music. And, the couple that had 2 days with no water, they ended up launching their own advertising agency. The 17-year-old kid, he wanted to get into Forex trading. The $50,000 was his gateway to go to the next level. So it doesn't matter what you're marketing, guys. Okay. It truly doesn't matter what you're marketing. These strategies work, and you might be selling weight loss, skincare, nutraceutical products, or whatever in MLM. Right? You can use the same strategies for that. You might be a realtor, mortgage broker, insurance agent, and automotive industry. It doesn't matter what the vertical is. We helped one realtor that was sending out pens and notepads like a lot of realtors do. You go to your mailbox and there's a fridge magnet, right? Yep. And is spending all this money doing things that the other realtors do, making no money. We taught her this formula, and in just over about 18 months, she made an extra $250,000 in real estate commissions. She actually got written up in a magazine, and the owner of the office asked if she would actually teach the entire company about social media. This is the power, guys. This is the power. Now, everything that I talk about in the training, Samuel, did you find that it really wasn't about the tech skills? It was about understanding more about yourself and more about people and more about communication and how to really understand more about your prospects' needs and try to convincing them on anything. Did you find that for yourself?
Yeah, I did. From the very beginning, from the very beginning of the training, I learned that it was a personal development journey. And you always used to say that, and I didn't understand it at first, but the longer I stuck with it, the more it made sense that the more I grew as a person, the more I understood myself, the more open I was to understanding others. And through the skills you taught me, I learned how to become an effective communicator of my vision, of my dreams. And I realized that, wait a minute, that's a priceless skill. If you're able to effectively communicate a vision for the future into the marketplace, or if you're working a corporate company, in your corporate company, you say you're able to communicate a vision that inspires others, that gives them energy, right? That's a skill that can help you literally launch any company, that can give you as much momentum as you want, right? So those videos laid down the foundation. Like, the training truly laid down the foundation, and none of it required tech skills. Literally no tech skills. It took me a bit, of course, to build my Facebook, because I didn't use my Facebook. But after the $4,000 that first week, I realized I don't need a big Facebook following. I don't even need to get a lot of engagement, because that's not where the business is. It's not about how many likes or comments you can be getting one like, one comment every post. But if you're communicating with people in the certain way that Darren teaches, if you know how to communicate with people, you can make tens of thousands of dollars, right? Regardless of how big you are or small you are on social media. And that's what I found fascinating, right? The fact that a bread factory worker, a guy like me that has no social media presence, I don't have the advantage of being in sales, right? Or being in marketing previously. I didn't have any of that. I was still able to do it. And that convinced me that, that made me feel, not only did it convince me, it made me feel proud whenever I brought somebody in, knowing that they don't need any of that stuff, because I didn't need any of that stuff. They don't need it. They just need to surrender their pride, surrender their ego, and just be coachable. Just trust your mentor. And that's probably the biggest lesson there. Very big lesson there.
I said it, guys. I repeat that a lot. I
know
a lot, right? But here's the interesting thing, guys, and I want you to think about this if you're on Facebook, because a lot of people, what they do is they just look at the likes and the comments. Okay, I'm going to tell you this. Okay, this is the God's honest truth. Just off of my Facebook wall, if you look at my Facebook wall compared to a lot of other people out there, I look like this little tiny peon, right? There's people out there that pull 400, 500, 600 likes or interaction engagements or comments or whatever, but likes and comments will only stroke your ego, guys. Likes and comments will only stroke your ego. It's the relationships and it's the conversations that will stroke your bank account. Okay, remember what I'm saying here. Likes and comments will stroke your ego. Okay, relationships and conversations will stroke your bank account. And that's the thing that you have to understand. It's not about taking traffic and slamming up it against pages. And, I'll tell you what the power of Facebook is here, guys. Okay. I came from old school traditional networking, where you just went out to places where there was high profile people and you had good people skills and you learned how to network. Okay. Facebook is like a gigantic lounge. Okay. It's like going to like a really super high-end party where you're mingling with all these high-end people at a party. Now, the difference is with technology, it's kind of like old school and having this little tiny computer in here in your eye. And as you're scanning, you get this computer printout that gives you all the data about the person, whether they're married, whether they got children, where they've been on vacation, are they in our industry, are they not in our industry, are they branded, are they not branded, what type of content did they put out. That is the gold, guys. That is the gold. That's where the money is, okay? And once you learn these skills, when I say to people, here we are halfway through October, and the intention, my intention for you is to be able to help you make $10,000 prior to Christmas. Okay, so we're talking about the rest of October, all of November, and 3/4 of the way through December. And Samuel here, just by implementing, just by being coachable, just by surrendering his pride and his ego, following the bouncing ball, $23,000 his very first month. And he's not the only one, guys. You're going to be hearing a number of testimonials over the course of the next few days. Now, here's the intention. Here's the intention. Here's my goal for you. What I want to be able to do is to be able to take you under my wing, put you onto a Zoom broadcast so that we're engaging back and forth. This isn't me just doing a broadcast and, you don't even get an opportunity to say, talk to a lot of the people normally. This is us communicating, okay? Us communicating so that you can understand content, branding, psychology, emotional state. How do you get so that people are literally giving you their credit card? They're showing up with credit card in hand, wanting to join whatever it is that you have. And it has nothing to do with your company, guys. It has nothing to do with your company. So whatever it is you market doesn't matter. Okay, it does not matter. Whatever you're marketing has to work. Okay, it has to work. It has to be competitively priced in the marketplace, and the compensation plan has to be fair. Okay, once you know those three things are true, move them aside, okay? Because it's not about that. It's not about plastering your stuff all over your wall and putting links all over and spamming links. I don't do any of that. None of that. In fact, the interesting thing is a lot of people will scroll my wall or they'll watch a Facebook Live and they'll say, Darren, what company are you with?
Oh, man.
What exactly is it that you do? Because I don't know. I can't even tell. Tell me more about what you do, okay? That's the attractor factor, guys. And that's what I want to teach you to be able to do. Now, right underneath this particular video right now, there's a link, okay? The link will take you over to a page where you'll get sort of a little bit of summary of some of the stuff that we're going to be covering. Now, the way that this works, guys, is this. Right down at the bottom of the page, there's a checkout, right? You can go through that whole thing and see exactly how this works. But once you go through the checkout process, then you get put into a private chat where you have direct contact with me for a whole month, okay? Whatever questions that you have, whatever is confusing to you, whatever you don't get, we get direct communication for an entire month. And multiple times throughout the week, we get on sessions, and sometimes I can, get carried away with talking and stuff, and we get on a roll and the energy builds up like this. And time literally just goes like so fast, right? So we typically, an average session typically runs for about 2 hours, okay? 2 hours. Sometimes I do go a little bit overboard, it might go 2.5 hours or something, but then that session's going to be recorded and it's going to be put into a vault so that you can, during that 30-day program, go back and look at that particular training if you missed it, or if you couldn't make that particular one, to be able to catch up so that we can continue the process and I can show you exactly how this works. Now, what if I was to do this? What if I was to scan my wall and then say to you, okay, guys, here's the next piece of content that I'm going to put out. Here's why I'm going to put out the content. Here's the psychology behind why I put out the content. And then you're going to see people showing up and how I engage with the people so that we can start to get bridges, relationships. That's our business, guys. We're in a relationship industry, and it's really about the people. It's about the connections. What can you do to help another person to solve their pain? What can you do to help another person to solve their pain? So is that what you went through, Samuel? Is that pretty good summary?
Yeah. The biggest thing, here's a big thing too. I would have never, because when I found your webinar is because I was searching up how to make money online, right? I was interested. I wanted to learn the skill, but there was every other way people were teaching was, make a list of 100 or 200 of your friends and family. And because they already trust you, they love you, so they're going to buy your stuff, right? I didn't want to do that. I was an introvert. I didn't want to harass my mom and my sister and my grandpa because, in our small family, like we all trust each other. I've heard stories of people ruining their relationships. And that scared me because I have a small family. I don't have I have a small family. I like keeping the relationship healthy. So that pushed me away from getting into the whole online stuff earlier. But when I saw what you were teaching, that even to this day, actually, it's funny when you were saying about like people tell you they don't know what you do, like when they look at your social media. My best friend's girlfriend yesterday said, Sam, I've known you for a year now, and I still don't know what you do for a living, right? I still don't know what you do for a living because I've never had to tell anyone. No one in my family knows what I do, right? They don't have to know. Now, if they ask me, yeah, sure, I'll tell them, right? But they don't have to know because I don't have to sell them anything, right? They can just enjoy the benefits of me having success, right? And I can just focus on what I'm doing online, on building relationships. And you teach us, how to market to people that they're already sold on the business model. They're not just like, your mother or your father that, maybe they're not entrepreneurial. Like they won't get it. You won't have to convince these people. They get it already. They know what that there's a lot of leverage online. They know that there's a lot of fulfillment and freedom and money to be made, right? So that way there's no rejection. You don't face rejection. And I was scared. I've heard stories of, people getting rejected and all that. I'm like, man, I really don't want to face that. And after you showed me the strategies, you showed me a better way, right? That gave me confidence. I was like, I could make money like this. This is the way I could get into the space. This is how I can enter the whole make money online thing and being a leader, right? In a way that I'm comfortable doing, in the way that I can really excel and not have to tell anyone, not have to harass anyone, right? So yes, I did find like that. That's basically, yeah, like anyone that's watching this, you won't have to do what a lot of these other like companies and whatever, like what these other strategies teach. You won't have to do any of those uncomfortable things, right? A lot of what you do is inside, and then it can be applied on Facebook, right? And that's the gist of what you learn. And Darren teaches you. I've been through one of the intensives actually. Darren did multiple intensives. I've been to one of them myself, right? Where I paid in to get in. I'm probably getting into this one too, right? And he actually showed us what he posts, why he posts. He actually did live phone calls, which I thought was amazing. Live phone calls showing us how to do something, because Darren never really tells us, just show us like what to do. He shows us how to do something. How do we do something, right? Because most of us, like, we don't have tech skills. So how do you do something in a way that's simple, easy to implement, and it will get you results, which is proven by Darren making $1,000 right in front of our eyes, right?
Yeah.
I can't stop talking about you, man. I tell you, everyone in my family, they don't know what I do, but they know who my mentor is. They all know who my mentor is.
Guys, here's the thing, because our industry truly is multifaceted. You have to be able to take charge. You got to be able to take responsibility for your thoughts, your words, your emotions. You have to realize, how does the equation for manifestation work? How do we create the own reality? How does the law of attraction actually work? What's the science behind it? Do you know that Facebook is an energy portal? Did you know that? Once you understand these concepts, guys, I'm telling you, your thinking, your brain will go and it will expand into infinite possibilities. The whole concept of what you believe on how this is done with online marketing and these people that are spending all this money, it's just not necessary, quite frankly. I mean, the 17-year-old kid, it was actually 6 weeks, just so you know, Samuel.
6?
17, yeah, 6 weeks. His very first 6 weeks, he made $50,000 US using the strategies that I teach. So guys, here's what I can tell you. In the event that you want to get into the next intensive, in the event that you want to be the next success story, in the event that you want to learn about the science of getting rich, how manifestation works, the law of attraction, how to generate unlimited leads with social media. Guys, I'm talking about red hot targeted leads, people that are in our industry, people that are already sold on our business model, how to become the attractor factor, how to turn yourself into a magnet by morphing your own brand, your special sauce, what makes you unique, what makes you different in the marketplace, what's the one marketing skill that you have passion for, and then I'm going to show you how to morph that so it becomes a magnet, a magnetic pull, okay? It sets you apart from all the rest of the people in the industry, because guess what, guys? There's one you. One. You have no competition. There's only one you in the marketplace, and sometimes it takes somebody kind of looking from the outside in, right, that can help you steer the process so that you can step into your full power and step into your greatness to be all that you can be. So guys, if that sounds like you, if you're struggling right now, you really want to make a full-time income, whether or not you're looking to bridge out of corporate America or you're already a networker, you're already in the MLM industry, you're already an affiliate marketer, but you just don't know what to do. You don't know what to do to get to the 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000. I'm going to be sharing the exact formula, the exact strategy that I did as a test to show people what's possible. And in a single 30-day period of time, I made $165,000 and I didn't spend a single penny on paid ads. That was all profit. And then after that, I went to Manila for 2 months and I hung out with Ari, my business partner, right? And I went on vacation for a little while because I wanted to take a little bit of a break, but I could still take my computer with me. I could still take my portable office with me everywhere. December, I'm going to Maui for a month. I just take my office with me, sit by the pool. And when you learn this strategy, guys, of how to make $1,000 commissions, it'll blow your mind when they really start happening. And they're like firecrackers, right? And when the energy force builds up, it's quantum physics. You access a vibrational resonance that opens up a gateway to be able to manifest more. So guys, if you got some value from here and you want to ask Samuel any questions, I want to be able to just give you an opportunity. Let me see. Anthony says, Sam, your story is getting me fired up.
Awesome.
I know what it's like to work those hours because that's what I work now and I need out, right? Who do we got here? Kelly says, I love hearing Samuel's story. Great energy. Who do we got here? We've got Angeline says, this is amazing, guys. Thank you so much, Angeline. Appreciate that. Looking for questions more than anything, guys. Questions. What do we got here? Oh, we've got that one. What do we got here? So grateful to be here. Stephen says, Darren is so incredible. Thank you very much, Stephen. I really appreciate you, pal. Who do we got here? Loving this amazing video. Guys, the whole purpose really is I wanted you to hear Samuel's story. But if you have any questions, okay, this is complete transparency here. Complete transparency. I don't like hype, okay? I don't believe hype is a good way to market. I believe that results are a good way to market. Learn a skill, implement a skill, get results, market your results, lead with your results, teach other people how you got your results. That's the key, guys. That's the key to our industry, to having true success. Lead by example from the front. Lead by example from the front. The successful people in our industry, step one, they invest in learning the knowledge. Step one, they invest in learning the knowledge. Step two, they implement what they've learned so that they can get some results. They implement what they've learned so that they can get some results. And when they get the results, they show people how they got the results. That's exactly how the process works. You invest, you implement, right? Invest in the knowledge, you learn it, you implement it, and you share your results. 3 simple steps. 3 simple steps, guys. And it doesn't, you don't have to spend a fortune and max out your credit cards with paid traffic. Total waste of money, in my opinion. We're going to show you how to get the money using this strategy. And if you want to then take a portion of the money that your business has made, instead of putting it on your credit card and using up your whole savings account, awesome. Awesome. We do that as well. Okay, so I think Samuel lost his internet there. Hopefully, maybe he lost his power. But let's load up with some questions here, guys, because I want to be able to open up the vault to you so that you can ask Samuel any questions that you want. He's either rebooting his computer or he lost his power, so I'm sure he'll be back here. Francois says, super amazing. Who else do we got? Guys, I'm looking for questions. Who has an actual question that they can ask? And hopefully Samuel's going to appear here shortly. I'm going to go back into full screen here. But what I want for you to do here is any questions that you got, guys. Any questions that you got. Darren is so incredibly knowledgeable. You provide incredible value. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Who do we have here? How big you're self-confident before starting off with Millionaire? Okay, I think what he's saying is, how big was your self-confidence before starting off with Millionaire Mentoring? Okay.
Right, cool. Can you hear me? Can you still hear me? So, I'll be honest, I think Francois, that's how you say your name. It took me about a year at the bread factory for me to build my self-confidence again. Because previous to the bread factory, I had no self-confidence. I went homeless. I failed my family. At least I felt like I failed my family. So it took me a long time. It took me about a year to build it up. But once I saw Darren's webinar, I knew I was ready. It was there. I was ready to go. Even when I didn't have 100% confidence in myself, and this is important, I didn't have the 100% confidence in me. I had 100% confidence in Darren, in my mentor, right? Like, and then it's funny, Grant Cardone, another guy I follow, Grant Cardone says, even when you can't trust yourself, put trust in your mentor, put trust in your teacher, right? Knowing that they have the experience that'll get you to the promised land, that'll help you build up your confidence. So I hope that answered your question, Francois. So it took me a long time to build it up from scratch, but I was ready. Once I saw a video like this, I knew I was ready, and I pulled the trigger when I could.
Okay, guys, what I want for you to be able to do is I want you to think in your mind about some of the things that might be stopping you or holding you back because there's some area of information that you're just not sure about. Throw the question down there so that you're talking to somebody that was a brand new newbie. He didn't have any tech skills. He didn't have any experience. He didn't have any background with computers. But in his very first month, he made $23,000. Okay. Now, if you have any questions about that, right, that you're thinking, well, geez, how could he even do that? How could he do that so fast? How could he do that so fast? Right? Throw the question down there, guys. Okay. Throw the question down. Open forum, guys. Complete transparency. Complete transparency. Okay.
Good question, Francois, by the way. Good question.
Francois says he's still asleep. I guess I think what he meant on this question, truthfully, Samuel, is he said, how big was your self-confidence right before starting off with Millionaire Mentoring?
Well, after I watched the webinar and I saved up the money to get started, I was certain. I was nearly 100% certain. This is it. I'm gonna make something happen. I just knew, just based off of everything I heard, the testimonials, the actual strategy. I just knew I was ready. So I was pretty certain. I was near 100% confident the day before I started. Right? If that answers your question more clearly, Francois.
Okay, so Anthony says, when you were rebuilding your confidence at the bread factory, what were some of the top motivational or inspiring materials that were your go-to that helped you keep going?
That's a good question. So the first resource was books. Books were my best friend. They were my only friends really at the bread factory, where I was listening to audiobooks. I was, for example, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T.R. Becker, and books like it, Think and Grow Rich. Let's see, what else? The Magic of Thinking Big, right? All those books, what they did for the most part, they all taught similar strategies, but they kept my mind like looking at the future, right? They kept me looking at what I could become. And it was almost like having Darren, but in text, every day telling me you can do it. There's people that have done it. You have the potential. And that just kept me motivated. Even when things got hard, like when I started having 14-hour days at the factory. And after you have 14-hour days for 5 days in a row, you know, you question your life. You're like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I would read a chapter of a book, like for example, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and it would say something. One of those chapters, one of those sentences would just get my mind and tell me, wait a minute, don't focus on how you feel right now. Focus on why you're doing it. Why are you doing it? And let that reason keep you going. So that was that. And I guess Tony, like the obvious question, obvious people, Tony Robbins. I started listening to Darren a lot more often as well. He had a lot of YouTube videos, and it would expose me. It would expose me to some of the material that he teaches. And Darren's a lot like these guys are like, you just feel inspired after hearing him talk. You feel like maybe you can, maybe you can do it. You can do it as well. So I hope that answered your question. What was his name?
That was Anthony. Stephen, would you talk a little bit about consistency and what type of consistency do you need in an online business?
Yeah, good question. Dude, great questions tonight. So consistency. I mean, it's everything, right? The good thing is, here's a good thing about being consistent. The strategies that I learned from Darren, like that he teaches us, it's pretty easy to stay consistent just because there's really only 3 things, right? There's 3 things, 3 daily actions that it's the first things we learn when we first get started, and they take no more than 2 hours a day, really, like 2 hours. And if you're really fast, probably an hour a day to get done. And it'll get you the results. There's something that we learn from Darren in the whole Millionaire Mentoring, the strategies, is that it's not necessarily how much time you put into something like working a job, like, you know, you put in more time, you get paid more money. It's more of what do you do in that time, and that will get you the results. So within those 1 to 2 hours, I would get more work done than 10 hours at the bread factory. And the proof is the income. Right? Like the income would come and I would make more money in those 1 to 2 hours. So that's probably the best thing to say about consistency. We just learned how to keep it simple. There's only 3 action steps that as long as we do that 1 or 2 hours every single day, it'll build momentum and yield results. Good question, Stephen.
Excellent. Any more questions, guys? Whatever you got. I'm talking complete transparency here, guys. Okay. Any questions?
I love these questions. Really good questions.
Let's shoot them down. Any questions? Throw them down there. Let's see if we can. This is really the goal. This is really what I want for you guys to be able to do, is to realize that this is actually a lot easier than you think. And there's really, it's all about learning about ourselves. Okay. Learning about ourselves. Believing in ourselves, loving ourselves enough to feel worthy and deserving, to know that abundance is our birthright. There's not enough money in the world that can pay you for your worth. And then that comes through you in your energy force, and that helps you to step into your power and step into your greatness. So you become the person. You morph into becoming a leader. is really what it is. And we're in a leadership business model.
In order to attract the one, you have to become the one.
Exactly. Any more questions, guys? Any more questions? Steven says, wow, thank you so much, Samuel.
No
guys,
problem.
In the event that you're in any of the groups that I have, whether it's Quantum Millionaire, Fast Track to Freedom, Black Ops Underground Marketing, the one thing that I'm going to share with you on tonight's broadcast, every single person, everyone that I've taken from 0 to 350,000, 0 to $500,000, 0 to $750,000, every single one has been through Millionaire Mentoring Intensives. Some people have done them back to back. This particular one that I'm doing right now is a 30-day. It's about specific skills that you're going to learn. There's other different programs that I have with Top Recruiters Academy, Unleash the Alpha Within. Those are much higher ticket products. This is really the foundational principles where you can actually see the psychology behind it on really what to do to start to 10X. Now, you may be in some of these other groups. You may be in Black Ops, but the money is either there in your account or it's not in your account. So you've either mastered the skills and it's showing up in your bank account. You're making 10 grand, 15 grand, 20 grand or higher, or your pride and your ego's in the way and you're not making any money. How about that? I always say that the numbers never lie. Data never lies, guys. Data never lies. So sometimes you got to surrender your pride. You got to surrender your ego. Realize maybe you don't know what you think you know. And just show up, guys. Just show up. Click that link below, right? We're going to be starting our training right at the 1st of November so that you can propel. And when you're in that vibrational resonance on an ongoing basis, Samuel, tell me what happens when we get on a phone call, when you're on the portal. Tell me what happens.
I've never not had like money come in right after the call. I've never not had a breakthrough happen on the call. I mean, to be honest, I'm having a breakthrough on this right now, right? Because not only am I getting all these reminders, it's almost like you were speaking directly into my soul about surrender your pride, surrender your ego, just show up and be coachable. Like, it's like you're talking straight to me. So, I mean, that's the best thing I can say. I've never not had some level of breakthrough, some level of success, you know, on a call with you. And it all makes sense. Now that I know more about quantum physics, now that I know more about, you know, vibrational resonance and the fact that you have a lot of energy within you, right? And you're genuine. Like, that's the thing. Like, I've never seen the money get to your head, right? Like, you're so genuine as a millionaire mentor. And I feel like you actually care. Like, you actually care. You call us when you don't have to do any of this. You don't have to call me, you know, whenever you see me not like doing well. You don't have to do any of that, but you do anyways. And that just shows me that if I stay on this path and I become the millionaire mentor in the future, right? I know that I'll be a good mentor just leading from example from what I learned from you. I know that I'll be effective, right? And I know that I'll get results because I've never not gotten results. We were talking about this before we even did this. This is a little funny thing, guys. Like, Daryl's telling me about this intensive coming up, right? He always runs it by me because, I mean, I love these intensives. The last intensive, I literally made $3,000 the first week. The first week. All my money back and then like multiples the first week. And then every week after that was just the money, whatever money came through. And I learned more about myself. I know already, I feel it in my body that this intensive is coming to me at the right time. I feel it. Like, do you guys know what I mean? Like, you must feel it. I know you feel it. Like, you feel it. You're like, this is the right time. The timing is right. Like, this is my breakthrough. If I can have this breakthrough, what if this is what's stopping me from truly living the freedom lifestyle? What if all I have to do is surrender my pride, surrender my ego, have faith, have the faith of a mustard seed, and this will be what will help me move that mountain, move those obstacles, and make me have my breakthrough. And that's literally what those calls do to me, man. Even this right here, right? Like, I feel that breakthrough coming just from this intensive coming up.
Okay, guys, so we got another question. How many hours per day is required in this amazing opportunity? Honestly,
Good
I'll
question.
actually share a little bit with you about that, Stephen, because I will tell you that the majority of people shuffle pencils and papers around all day. Comment, 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 comment. They watch video, comment. They waste a ridiculous amount of time. Okay. In the event that you're actually focused on the relationships, okay, what I typically do is I can tell from the content. It only takes 5 minutes to put out a piece of content, or maybe 15 to write a story, right? Maybe anywhere from 5 minutes to sometimes they go a little bit overboard on my Facebook Live. Sometimes they go half an hour, 45 minutes. But the content changes everything. The content doesn't take a lot of time to put out, right? But what happens after the content? That is the missing gateway that people do not do. And they just keep on surfing around. So when Samuel was talking about 2 hours, he actually did the income producing activities, not the wasting time activities that most people do on social media. He did the actual income producing activities. Okay. And if you're not building relationships and you're not connecting with people that are engaging with you, right, and getting them on here, okay, Facebook is like a mask thing. But I can tell you this, you know where the relationship starts? When I hit that little button and we're talking face to face. It's just people. It's great because they get the energy of your content and you're having a conversation with them. But the question is, what do you say to the people? That's the question. And that's what people don't know. And that's what I teach the people. Is that pretty accurate there, Samuel?
Yeah, it's funny. Like I said, even now, to this day, it's been almost 3 years. I know that if I put in 2 hours of income producing activities, and that's super important, not shovel around things and like and comment and, and do all these other things that don't really produce results. Just, all right, these 3 things that you taught me, they always produce results. Just do those 3 things. And whenever you talk to somebody face to face or on the phone, on Messenger, call Skype, you've armed us with the exact words to say, right? You armed us with the exact strategy. Like, guys, let me ask you this. What if you knew how to open up any conversation? I'm not just talking about online. What if you actually knew the formula on how to open up conversations with just people in general? What if you knew what to do after you opened up the conversation? And let's go even further. What if you knew how to lead that conversation to a specific result? What if you knew those exact steps? What would that do to your relationships? What would that do to your friendship life? What would that do to your life in general? Like, it would probably improve your quality of life. It has for me, right? And it would also yield you results. And what I learned is that the more results you get, the more and more confidence and the more self-worth, the more you start to believe in yourself, right? So, like, what is that worth to you? And that's basically it right there. Like, just the income producing activities, 2 hours a day minimum. Usually if you're really busy, let's say you work 14 hours a day, 12 hours a day, put in 1 hour a day, right? Put in 1 hour a day, like maybe 15 minutes during lunch, 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night, right? But as long as you put in the time and do the work, like, at the end, it's not hard work neither, right? It's you're in front of a computer, right? It's not hard work. Hard work is flipping 32-pound breads at the bread factory, being on my feet all day. That's hard work. I've been through that. This is a blessing. This is a blessing. Just the fact that we can make money and make a difference from our computers, sitting down, right?
The thing that I'm going to share with you guys just before we wrap up here is that people make this whole concept of online marketing way too complicated, guys, because Facebook is like going to a gigantic lounge. You're like, imagine that you go into a party and there's a group of people chatting, there's a group of people sitting over there. Now, if you walk into that group and you basically sit in the corner and stare at the corner, right? After a while, people are going to go like, what's with the guy over in the corner? Right? What's with the guy over in the corner, right?
Yeah.
In the event that you want to be a social type person, because that's where business is done, guys, just so you know. And if you talk to any high level executive, any people that are on the path of senior level management, okay, I'm going to share this one thing with you that I learned this raising venture capital and tens of millions of dollars in venture capital. The guy that's going to cut you a check for $250,000 or $500,000 is way more impressed that you remembered that he likes extra caramel on his macchiato and about his son's Little League baseball game, whether they won or not, than he cares about your business. It's about the relationship. And people invest in people. People join people. So you think that somebody's buying some weight loss product from you, okay? But guess what? They're really buying you. Like I said, the products have to work, okay? Products have to work. Products have to be competitively priced, and the compensation plan has to be fair. Once you know those things are true, you got to move them aside. It's not about the things that people are out all over social media. Pitch. Those are the broke people, guys. Those are the people that are flatline broke. And they put on this, image to try to pretend that they're making money when they're not. It's a facade. They're lying. 97% out of every 100 people that you see on social media are flatline broke. They're putting on this persona. They're putting on this image. Where are the results? They got 200 likes, 300 likes, 500 likes. Show me your back office.
Ooh, straight to it.
How about that? Let's go see your results, okay? And then as soon as you ask them, they start to jockey like they're now all of a sudden uncomfortable because you bought into a persona that was fake. It was fake, okay? This is why I say lead from the front. Get the results and let the results do the work, and then teach people how you got the results. That's what me and Ari do, okay? So here's what we did. We started, okay? We didn't use any paid ads. And combined between me and Ari in a 35-day period of time, we wanted to show people what was possible, okay? So we generated $240,000, right, in a 35-day period of time. And I'm not going to tell you guys that I didn't bust my ass that month, but I wanted to show people what was possible. So I had all-nighters some night. Some night I was on a roll and I maybe made $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000. And I worked till it started getting sunlight out, okay? I'm not going to tell you that I didn't work hard that month, because I did. I made personal sacrifices for the team. I made personal sacrifices for the people, because I wanted to blaze the trail, because you can never replace your first month. You'll only have one first 30 days. You'll only have one first 60 days, and you'll have one first 90 days. You can never, ever replace that. So I wanted to at least show people what was possible in a compressed period of time to open up their vision, to open up their possibility thinking, to think, what if this could happen for me too? What if this could happen for me? Okay, we're going to take one last question here. How scared were you on your first attempts to communicate with people? You said you were an introvert. What was some of the biggest things that helped you break through?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked me that question. Because I know a lot of people are probably wondering that. I'm still an introvert, believe it or not. I could now I have the ability to choose when to be extroverted, because I've learned the strategies, so they come in. But I'm still introverted. So to answer the first part of the question, how scared was I on the first attempt to call or communicate? I froze up. I would literally look at my phone for like 20, 40 minutes before I actually clicked on the call button. Like, I would freeze up. I would play out the scenario, like all these futures. Oh my God, what if I call them and I mess up? Or what if what if they don't like me anymore? Because whatever, right? Like all these fake scenarios that don't exist, I would keep living them in my mind, and it would freeze me up. So I would stare at my phone. I was terrified. But the good thing is that what always made me pull through and go with actually make the call and not just say, you know what, I'm just not going to call the person. What helped me pull through is knowing what words I was going to say, because Darren actually, he's over here. Darren actually has it fully written out, the exact words you're going to say. Knowing the actual formula, like, all right, how am I going to open up the conversation? What happens after I open up? What are the exact questions I ask? And how do I transition those questions into what Darren calls a closing question and actually go and make a sale or go form a relationship? Like, that gave me so much confidence. And after I did the first call that I was really scared in doing, I had confidence to do the second call and the third call and the fourth call. And after enough calls, I finally figured out that as long as I just stuck with what I learned, I stuck with the words that Darren has written out for us and the strategies, the results are going to just keep duplicating every single call. Like, it's just going to keep duplicating as long as I stick to what works. So that's probably the cure, I would say, the cure to introvert. Like, just have somebody like Darren give you what to say, and that way you cannot mess up. Like, you just won't mess up. You'll know what to say. And what was the second part of the question, Darren? I think there was a second part.
What were some of the biggest things?
Okay. Yeah, knowing what to say. Like I said, like knowing what to say. What Darren gives us, just knowing what to say, knowing the formula. Working on myself every day. Darren teaches on how to do, a lot of mirror work, how to do like a lot of different strategies on how to really hack into your mindset and build your self-worth. So building my self-worth into finally realizing, wait, when I call somebody, I should feel good doing this because I love myself. I feel good about myself. I feel like I'm a valuable human being. So whatever happens on that call, I feel like I'm going to give the other person value. So I took the attention off me. I took the attention off me and I put it into helping others. And that really helped me break out of my shell. And as Darren says, that helped me unleash the alpha within. That helped me really unleash who I truly am. Right. So I hope that answered your question, Anthony.
Here's the thing that I'm going to share with you guys in closing of this broadcast. And first of all, I want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for being here today. But the overflow, the residual that happens from really stepping into your power and stepping into your greatness, here is the extra things that come. Number one, the communication with your children is going to dramatically improve. Number two, the communication and the connection that you have with your husband or your wife, your spouse, significant other, or your boyfriend or girlfriend, doesn't matter. The passion comes back into your relationship because it takes your relationship to a much deeper level of, a human bond, right? What you're going to find is that if you're working in corporate America, some of my students have had 3 pay raises, 2 job promotions, had a side consulting contract on the go. One student was, he mastered recruiting, and he was actually selling door to door. He was only 25 years old, and he recruited an entire army of people that were in college students, right? So he put together a whole army of people using what I taught him. Okay, a whole army of door-to-door salespeople, and in an 8-month period of time, he did $2 million in door-to-door sales. He got promoted to vice president of the company, and now he owns a piece of the company. Now tell me, what does that have to do with online marketing? It doesn't. It has to do with people. People, guys. In our industry, online, offline, corporate America, doesn't matter. Your commodity is people. And once you learn these skills, everything changes. You re-fall in love again with your spouse. You feel more closer connected to your children than you ever have before. And when the kids learn these strategies, guys, my son is a perfect example. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps, just chills right on my arm right now. My son started learning this stuff when he was about 15 years old, started showing signs of being an entrepreneur at 16. Now he's 20. He's got 200 of his own students, okay? He's now coming out with his own product, okay, on Shopify. And in the last 6 months, he's done $400,000 in sales, okay? 20 years old. This is the power of this, guys. quantum physics, manifestation, the law of attraction. And once you're engulfed into the energy, once you're engulfed into the frequency, you will blow yourself away, quite frankly. You will shock yourself about how powerful that you really are and how you can become a magnet through the energy portal. Through the energy portal. Anthony says, thank you guys. Tons of great value tonight. I appreciate both for taking the time to put this on. And Samuel, all I can say, bro.
Thank you. Thank you.
Proud of you, pal. I really mean that. Super proud of you. Guys, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for joining us on this exclusive and private VIP broadcast. All I can tell you is that the rubber hits the road. The rubber hits the road, guys, in Millionaire Mentoring Intensive. And this one is called the 10K Side Hustle Showdown. And the goal is to get you from here to $10,000 plus before Christmas. And we've got tons and tons and tons of people that have already done it. Okay, and I'm not talking about hype. I'm talking about the thing that I like, and that's results. Results, guys. People join a business because they want results. People join a business because they want to make money. Hype doesn't work in our industry. Get in now and lock your spot. Those are the broke people, okay? Learn the skills. Step into leadership. Step into your personal power, right? And that, my friends, is when you never, ever have to worry about money ever again for the rest of your life, because you have become the person. You have become the leader. You've stepped into your power. You're the best version of yourself. And that's the industry that we're in. Once you learn it, you can help other people. So guys, if that sounds like something that you want to get into, something that you want to 10x your income with, this works for any vertical, click that link below, get into the spot. We're going to start at the beginning of November. If you need more, to see more testimonials for more people, tomorrow night, guys, you're going to hear from a lady that was burnt out in corporate America. She was in a situation where she had health problems. Her family was in a head-on collision. She just found out that her mom was diagnosed with cancer. That was her starting point. She wanted so bad to leave corporate America. She didn't think that there was any way out. She went through a Millionaire Mentoring Intensive. She's now a consultant. She's a business consultant. She walked away from corporate America, and already she's made over $250,000. Last time we were in the intensive, she was at about 200, started past 250 now. And that is common. That's common. Now, what does that have to do with online? She escaped corporate America because she stepped into her power. She stepped into her greatness, and she became the person. So tune in tomorrow night, guys. That's going to be at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm excited about that one. And you're going to get a huge amount of value from showing up. In the event that you did opt in through 10ksidehustle.com, I'm just going to, when I get off this broadcast, I'm going to change out the dates, and then you'll be able to get the broadcast notification that'll come out for the morning that will have the new link to one of these with the panel with her. So thanks a lot, Samuel. Thanks a lot to the guests.
Thank you.
Participating. I appreciate you guys, and thanks a lot for being here tonight. My name is Darren Little from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And guys, let's go get it and step into our personal power. Have a great night, and thanks for joining us tonight.